Hello and welcome to the Watch Lucky channel, where we bring you all the good and honest watch reviews. In today's video, we are going to do a comparison between two really popular watch models. Today's comparison is between the Sinn 556. I have the 556i version with me in my left hand, and the next watch in the comparison video is the Seiko Sarb033, which is yet another very popular model among watch collectors. Both watches are very similar in terms of size, shape, color scheme, and their versatility. These two watches, they are great for everyday wear, and I'm sure most watch collectors will agree with me. These two watches are really good for the money. But bear in mind that this video doesn't aim to tell you which is the better watch today. I'm just going to show you the differences between these two watch models. After all, the price difference is pretty big here. We are talking about the Sinn that goes for about 2,000 Singapore dollars after dealer discount, and the Seiko Sarb033 that goes for about $600 street price. So obviously the price difference is going to come into factor, and I'm just going to show you the differences, and you can make the decision yourself. So let us go through some of the main differences. I have with me the Sinn, which is obviously made in Germany. It houses an ETA 2824 movement automatic, hacking, hand winding. And I have the Seiko here, the Sarb033. It is claimed to be made in Japan, but many watch collectors or people with more knowledge, they would know that it is not exactly made in Japan. It's got a Seiko in-house movement, of course. The movement caliber is the 6R15, also automatic, hackable, and offers hand winding. Both watches are about the same size. The Sinn has a case diameter of 38.5 millimeters, whereas the Seiko has a 38 millimeters case size. Overall, I would say the Sinn has a slightly wider case size because of the longer crown and the protruding crown guard, whereas the Seiko here has no crown guard at all. So overall, I think you will wear slightly smaller. Case thickness is about the same. The Sinn has got a case thickness of 11 millimeters, and the Seiko here has got a slightly thicker case size of 11.5 millimeters. Both watches have dead flat sapphire crystals in front. The Sinn has got a sapphire glass display back, whereas the Seiko has a mineral glass display back. Both the Sinn and the Seiko, they have 20 millimeters lug width, and this will make these two watches really strap models or strap monsters. We will talk more about that later on in this review. And both the Sinn and the Seiko, they have very similar lug to lug distance. The Sinn on my left hand has got a lug length of 45.5 millimeters, and the Seiko on my right hand has got a lug length of just under 45 millimeters. Thereby, this makes both watches wear really well even on watch collectors with smaller wrists. In addition to the crown guards and the bigger crown, the Sinn also has a screw down crown, and it's got a water resistance of 200 meters. The Seiko, on the other hand, no crown guard, non-screw down crown, and it's got a water resistance of 100 meters. Yet another point of similarity is that both watches, they have a date function, and both dates are on the 3 o'clock position. The Sinn has a non-frame or non-bordered date at 3 o'clock. It's got a nice chamfer in the matching date wheel. Seiko, on the other hand, has got a nicely framed date, and I would say it looks really cool and classic. By holding these two watches in my hands, I feel that they are about the same weight, but let's go on to the scales to see the actual weight of these two watches. The Sinn with the stock bracelet weighs 141.3 grams, and the Seiko weighs 126.4 grams on the stock bracelet. So just the watch body alone, the Sinn weighs in at 64.7 grams, and the Seiko weighs 57.7 grams. In terms of dial design, I would say the Sinn is the cleaner look. It's got painted dial, the logo, the text automatic and made in Germany, they're all painted and they are lume. Seiko, on the other hand, has got plenty of applied markers. It's got applied KitKat bars for our markers. I think the logo is also applied. The automatic and jewels tags, they're printed though, and the hands have got lume in them, and it's got a really nice counterbalance on the second hand. And here's a comparison of the lume between these two watches. The Sinn is on my left and the Seiko is on my right. As you can see, the Sinn has got bigger areas of lume application. The full stick markers are lume along with the hour and minute hand. The Seiko on the other hand has got smaller areas of application. Only a little part of the stick markers are lume along with the minute and hour hand. So I would say both watches, they have pretty decent lume. Not the brightest as you would see in dive watches, but I think they are pretty decent. I would say a very big difference to the visuals of these two dials is that the Sinn, I think it's got a double AR coating on the sapphire crystal. So the front and at the back of the sapphire crystal, you've got anti-reflective coating. So you will see that the dial is really a deep black and it offers very little reflection. On the other hand, I'm not too sure if the Seiko crystal has got AR coating. As you can see, it's not in a deep black shade like the Sinn here. Looks a bit like dark grey, and it's mainly because of the reflections you see of the crystal. So to sum up on the dial layout and design, I would say the Sinn has a really clean, toolish look. The thing, it's got a pilot's watch kind of vibes to it. It's got longer markers on the hour markers and the minute markers are shorter, and this gives a very clean look to it. Even the second hand is nicely lume and it hits the end of the minute markers very neatly. Overall, a really clean look on the Sinn 556i. The Seiko Sarb033 on the other hand, it's got a slightly dressier vibes to it due to the applied markers that are pretty shiny, and it hits off, light hits off very well. This gives the watch a slightly dressier feel to things and less toolish than the Sinn 556. Now let's go on to the comparison between their case and build. The Sinn 556 has got an all stainless steel construction and is done in an all satin finish. I wouldn't say it's a brush finish, but it's done in a satin finish. You can't really see the brushing. It is not bead blasted matte, but it's got a nice satin feel to it. The entire watch, the lugs, the case sides, and even the bezel here is done in the uniform satin finish, as is the bracelet, the H-link bracelet that I have here, all the way to the Sinn clasp. The Seiko Sarb on the other hand has got a mixture of polished and brush finishes. Obviously the case sides, the bevels, they're all polished. The top of the lugs are vertically brushed. The bezel is shiny, it's polished, but you will see some marks here and there because this is a used watch for my buddy. Now the bracelet here is really interesting, it's really nice. It's got a brush finish on the links, but there's a chamfer here at the side and it is done in polished finish, as are the sides of the bracelet. It's really nice work. At this price point, I would say this bracelet is really nice. So design wise, I would say the Seiko has got more curves than the Sinn. If I were to turn the watches this way, and you will see very clearly that the Seiko has got more curves. The watch case is curved, the mid case here is curved. Of course, this helps in giving off the impression that it has got more curves because the case back is protruding, but it's got a mid case that curves this way. On the other hand, the Sinn, you will see that it's mostly a slab-sided case. Of course, it's got a slightly protruding case back, but one look you will feel that the Sinn is the one with hard lines and less curves. And also in terms of the sides, or in terms of chamfers or bevels, you'll get none of that with the Sinn. As you can see here, the corners, the sides are all hard edges. It's not to say that they are badly made, but just that the lines are hard lines, angular. You don't get any bevels or any steps or ridges in the design. It gives it a really toolish look, a no-nonsense look. So I've mentioned before, the Seiko has got a dressier vibe to it, so you see nice bevels in the bracelet. You get to see this step or ridges design at the case sides. I think this tries to give it a more elegant feel and try to remove some of the hard lines found on the Sinn. So here's a look at the profiles of these two watches. Again, you will see that my observations about the curves and hard lines of both watches, they are very evident here when you do a side-by-side comparison. Another difference between the two watches in the case construction is the inclusion of drilled through lugs in the Sinn 556. Here you can see the drilled lugs that makes for easy strap change. On the other hand, the Seiko has no drilled lugs. Not a big problem if you got the right tools and the right skill. In terms of case work and quality, I would say the Sinn is really well made. Polishing or the case finish feels really good. Doesn't have that cheap finish and no rough edges. The engravings, the reverse engraving on the crown is really crisp and clear, as is the engraving on the case back. You run your fingers over these words, you can really feel the engraving deep and solid. Now on the other hand, this is where perhaps where the Seiko is lacking. The engravings on the case back here, as well as the clasp, they don't feel as solid, but then again, bear in mind there is a price difference between these two watches. Let's also compare the bracelet and clasps of these two watches. Now both bracelets are solid end links, solid end at the watch side and buckle side. Main difference being the Sinn has got a double clasp system where you have a safety lock here and then you open it by pulling. The clasp is solid mule clasp, and I really feel that there is lots of quality coming from the Sinn at this price point. The Seiko also has a solid end link bracelet, and it's got a different clasp system from the Sinn. Again, this is solid mule steel, very well made, and it's got a really nice and slim spring release clasps here, which I actually enjoy using. So in terms of wearability, both watches are just a joy to wear. They fit really well on different sizes, different wrist sizes. I would say no one will have problems with a watch of these sizes. They're 38.5 millimeters. They fit so well, wear so comfortably. Both watches have the same thickness or about the same thickness and case diameter, and they fit really well on my just under 7-inch wrist. So just to illustrate how versatile these watches are, I've strapped on both watches on leather straps, and immediately they give off a different feel. I would say a slightly more dressy feel to things, and you wear this nicely under a shirt or with a suit. So people who are looking for versatile watches, at some point you've got to look at these two watches, the Sinn 556 and the Seiko Sarb series. They are so versatile. I would say they take on any straps, Nato, leather, rubber. They take on any strap with no problems. I especially find the dressier look of the Sarb leans really well with a strap that tapers dramatically. So I've got a strap that tapers from 20 to 16 millimeters, and I would say if you're looking for the dressy look, this is ideal. So again, to show just how versatile these watches are, I've got the Sinn mounted on a thick FKM rubber strap. Really nice, really comfortable strap, and the Seiko Sarb doesn't look out of place on a Twill Nato. So there you have it, the comparison video between the Sinn 556i and the Seiko Sarb033. Bear in mind that there is a huge price difference between the two watches. This one, the Sinn, goes for about 2,000 Singapore dollars after dealership discounts, and the Seiko Sarb goes for about 600 Sing dollars street price. So if you were to ask me if I have a preference, if I have a favorite watch among these two, I would definitely lean towards the Sinn, mainly because of the anti-reflective coating on the crystal. Here you can see that the dial is a deep black dial, really clean, clear, and I really love the no-nonsense look. The Seiko, on the other hand, is a bit dressier, and I'm not quite fond of the reflections, crazy reflections going on in the crystal. But I have to say, it is a great value watch at about $600 Sing dollars. You get a watch that is very versatile, good enough for daily wear, as mentioned in my earlier review video. So either way, you're getting a watch that is really good for the money. You can never go wrong with these two watches. I'll leave it to you to decide which watch fits you better, fits your budget, fits your lifestyle, and leave your comments below if you want to share with me your views on my video and on these two watches. So it's time to say goodbye. I'll see you next week for more watch review videos. This is the Watch Kaki from Singapore, and George, together with the Watch Kaki, says goodbye. Bye bye! And also in terms of chamfers and bevels, and also in terms of what am I saying? And also in terms of bevels or chamfers, you get none of that on the. What am I saying? So in terms of what am I?